The easiest way you can disrespect yourself is by being a people pleaser. Being a people pleaser will literally destroy you bit by bit without you even realizing it. The saddest part is it affects your everyday life, how you interact with other people, how you treat yourself, and how you just present yourself to the world. As a recovering people pleaser, I'm like 99% of the way there, but I can look back on my life and see all the places where being a people pleaser affected me, and it really affected me as a content creator. So we're going to break down what it's like looking like a people pleaser and how to get rid of those people pleasing tendencies. So let's start with the definition of people pleasing. People pleasing is basically where you put everybody else's needs in front of your own, most of the time at the expense of your needs. We ain't doing that no more, babes. It's 2025, put it away. Some of the different ways that people pleasing can show up, especially as a content creator, is you say yes to every single opportunity. Y'all listen, I've said yes to some opportunities that I knew deep down weren't really for me, but I was like, well, I don't get a lot of opportunities thrown my way, so if I say no, then I'm gonna feel bad. Another big way that I see a lot of streamers and content creators do is they create content that is not really aligned with them, but it's getting them an audience, or it's how they got their audience. So a lot of gamers will play games that they're no longer interested in because it got them that audience, and they know what's going to happen if they stop playing that game. No one is going to show up. And a lot of streamers, because streaming is so hard and getting that success and that audience is so hard, once they have it, they don't want to shift away from it. So now they're miserable every time they're streaming. Their audience can tell, but they don't want to say anything because they don't want to lose their audience, but no one is having a good time anymore. So it's not worth it. This is the biggest one I see a lot of conflict averse people doing, is they don't want to set boundaries with their audience. They figure, oh, I have an audience, I need to do everything to please them, because again, it's hard to have an audience, so why would you go against them now that you have them? But let's say somebody is doing something in your chat that you don't like, you're going to kind of let it pass because it's like, well, that's one more viewer that I have, I don't want to lose them. Baby, you're the one that controls what's happening in your chat or your community. You need to get rid of that person, because if you don't, it's going to make a lot of people in your community uncomfortable that you are allowing that behavior, because at the end of the day, it's your stream, not anybody else's stream. You run it, not them. The last one is when streamers feel bad about canceling or having to reschedule a stream, a collab, an event, anything. I can't wait to tell y'all how to not feel guilty about that one. So now that we know how people pleasing can show up, we're going to talk about how it can negatively affect you. In my opinion and my experience, if you do something for long enough that is unaligned with you, you are going to eventually burn out. I have been streaming for 7 years. I've burnt out multiple times during that time, because at the end of the day, how I was streaming was never meant for me. So I might have gone a year before I burnt out, or sometimes only went a couple of months. It doesn't matter. I always ended up burning out because it wasn't aligned with my bandwidth and what I was supposed to be doing. Resentment is another huge thing that happens when you are people pleasing. And that can be resentment towards yourself because you're not standing up for yourself. It can be resentment towards the other people that you're people pleasing, because at the end of the day, they don't even like you. We're going to get into that later. And then you can also feel resentment towards the people that don't have to people please in order to have people like them. I know when I was a people pleaser, I used to feel that way. Like, how the hell do people just like them and they're not people pleasing? They're being kind of a bitch and people still like them. Another negative effect of people pleasing is you lose your sense of self. Now, for me, for the past like 32 years or whatever that I was people pleasing, I mainly didn't have a sense of myself because I didn't like myself. So how can you have a sense of self if you don't like yourself? Therefore, you are putting up a fake version of yourself for the world. I was more worried about what other people thought about me and other people liking me than me liking myself. I thought that other people liking me would fill the void that I had inside of me, and the only way you can fill that void was self-love. So other people liking me or acting like they like me was never gonna fill that void. And like I mentioned earlier, people pleasing doesn't actually work. When you're people pleasing, the people that you're doing that towards, they're just gonna take advantage of you. If they're a good person, they might kind of be turned off from you, because people that are people pleasing tend to be kind of clingy and dependent on other people, and that can be very exhausting for someone who's pretty independent and secure in themselves. But then the other people, the bad people that want to take advantage of you, they're going to take advantage of you. They might act like they like you because they know that's how they keep you around. They're just going to use you and toss you to the side once they're done with you, and they're not going to feel bad about it either. So now that we know the negatives of people pleasing, now we get to learn how to break that cycle. The first way to break a chain of behaviors like people pleasing is you have to recognize when you're actually doing it. So next time you notice that you're people pleasing, you need to step back either physically or just mentally in your head and be like, I am people pleasing right now. You might not be able to do anything in the moment, but start recognizing those times that you're people pleasing, because I promise you, once you start stepping back and realizing that you're doing it, you're going to realize you do it often. I'm talking about multiple times a day, because that's what I started realizing when I did this. Once you get comfortable recognizing when you're people pleasing, now you need to start reframing your mindset. A lot of times what we think to ourselves when we're about to people please is, oh my God, will they like me? Will they hate me? Will they be mad at me if I tell them no? Now you need to start reframing that to, do I want to do this? Am I actually aligned with this? Will this make me happy? You need to start being more selfish. Trust me, I'm kind of the pro at being selfish, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're helping you not be a people pleaser. Now, the best part with this is you can do practice rounds with other people, or you can just do it in your head with yourself if you want to. Like, put yourself in a situation that you know you typically people please in. Like, let's say you have to cancel a stream or something. You can go through that scenario in your head and be like, all right, I recognize that this is something that I normally people please in. How can I reframe my mindset? Normally it would be like, oh, my community is going to be so mad at me. Oh, people are going to unfollow me. And now you're thinking, is this something that I need to do for myself? Is this aligned with me? Is canceling a stream today the best thing for me? You see where we're going? So you go through that enough, both practice rounds and in real life, and you're going to be set up better to not people please. You have to practice, because you have to first break the chain that you're doing currently, and then you need to relearn, get those synapses and stuff realigned, learn the new mindsets that you have to do. This part is definitely the harder part, but now you have to learn how to set boundaries. I know. I still struggle with this, and I've been doing this for over a year now, kind of going through not being a people pleaser anymore. But you have to set them boundaries, and you have to hold to those boundaries. It's one thing to set them and say them. It's another thing to actually follow through with them. So a couple of tips I have for that. Number one, no is a full sentence. You don't need to say, no, but da-da-da. Nope, you don't have to do that. No is a full sentence. If somebody thinks you're rude for doing that, that's their problem, not yours. You don't need to over-explain yourself, or explain yourself for that matter, especially if it's someone that you don't care about. Listen, y'all, listen. If I care about you, I might explain myself, but if I don't care about you, I'm definitely not explaining myself. And if this is someone that you do care about, you can offer something that aligns with you. So like if you need to reschedule or something, like, hey, I can't go out tonight, but we can try for next week. If that actually aligns with you, and if you are okay with them hitting you up next week to hang out again, then say that. If you are not okay with that, don't say that, because that is another form of people pleasing. My favorite part is prioritizing your goals and what you want to do. Be selfish. Be a selfish queen, king, thumb press, whatever you want to be. Do that. One of the main ways you can do this is you can ask yourself, is this something I want to do, or is this something that society wants me to want to do? And y'all listen, because I'm the aligned creator. Hello, I have a free worksheet on my Ko-fi called Redefining Success. And it kind of deals with if you're doing goals that are aligned with you personally, you actually want to accomplish it, or if it's something that society says that you should accomplish. So definitely check out the link in the description so you can look at that worksheet and you can start figuring out if your goals are actually aligned with you or if they're for societal purposes. Now remember, it's okay to have societal norm goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I want to make sure that I also have some personal goals in there too. So remember, one of the best ways to respect yourself and for the people who are not meant for you to be big mad is to stop being a people pleaser. So if you're a current or a recovering people pleaser, put a pink bow emote down below, y'all. Come on, we need some cute pinkness. We need to recognize that we're people pleasers or recovering people pleasers, and we're going to do the things that we need to do to not be a people pleaser anymore. And if you want to leave any comments or questions about not being a people pleaser anymore, you can leave those down below as well. Because at the end of the day, we need to move around in our own lives and make sure that we're happy with how we're moving around, because we're the only ones that are in our heads 24/7. Not all these people that we're trying to people please, period.